into it. TurboTax Live. Brandon, you love Emmanuel Sanders' money moves.
Yes, Jenna. So Emmanuel Sanders' 8th catch in yesterday's game was a big one. It was huge. Why? Because it was his 60th catch, triggering a $500,000 bonus. Take a look at his reaction. I absolutely love guys getting to the money. Look at this guy. Look, there it is right there. There it is. Look at that. He's not thinking about the Super Bowl. He said, I already have a ring. He's just throwing up, give me that money, Coach Payton. Give me the money. I love it, Emmanuel.
Right. Okay. Jimbo Fisher wins the game. Here comes the Gatorade bath. Nope, I'm out of here. Later claims that he pulled a hamstring. They give it another shot in the end zone. They miss him again. So I have two problems here. The first one is this.
He almost
to the players.
Him.
You got to do it before the clock runs out. One player has to go over, have an emotional moment, blammo, out with the Gatorade. Number 2, to Jimbo Fisher. This is like Christmas when you get maybe a book that you already have. If you open it up and instead of saying, I already read this or I already have it, just let it happen. It's not for you. It's for the person who gave it to you. So just let them Gatorade douse you. Let the players do it.
Oh, I love
what value is it to running away and robbing a memory? Get doused, and you also, I don't even think you're wearing a cotton thing. You're water resistant.
It's also why A&M didn't deserve to be in the playoff. They can't even catch their own coach. All right, let's go on a time warp with me. Before the year, Kyrie Irving's like, hey, finally a teammate who can hit a game-winning shot, unlike that bum LeBron James. So then you fast forward, game 3. The Nets are red hot. They're 2-0. They're great. They're everyone's pick. Kyrie's like, hey, KD, you can hit a game-winning shot. I trust you. KD, clang, clang, they lose. Now things aren't as good. Week and a half later, they've lost 3 of 4. Another opportunity for a game winner. Kyrie says, no, 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 that's my shot. Clang, clang. KD says, oh, I'm going to have a chance to redeem myself. Yes! Oh, no. Okay, so couple lessons here. One is KD 0 for 2 on game winners this year. That ain't great. Lesson 2, the Nets all of a sudden lost 4 of 5. That ain't great. Lesson 3, Kyrie's taking all of these from now on, and in fact, he's just going to dribble down until there's 1 second left, so there's not an opportunity for anyone else to miss. Just want everyone to know what's going on with those red-hot 3 and 4 Brooklyn Nets.
Leave my Nets alone. Leave him alone.
All right, so I'm watching the game last night, and Washington scores this great touchdown. Logan Thomas goes up, climbs the ladder, grabs the ball. Unbelievable Logan Thomas catch. I absolutely love the touchdown. I looked to Steph, and I said, remember that show, Hogan's Heroes? More like Logan's Heroes.
What? Oh, what? Jenna, what?
Let's go.
And Stephanie says to me, don't make that joke on the show. And I said, make that joke on the show? Are you insane? I wouldn't make that joke on the show. I'd be high-fiving myself. Nobody laughs at me on the show. And then Terry McLaurin does this. He's right there. He's got to high-five himself. Terry's my people. He's the Jenna Wolf of the Washington football team. He's got to celebrate alone. I love this guy.
Terry
and
McLaurin,
so with that, and thank you for speaking through my 4 things, I will say Hogan's Heroes, more like Logan's Heroes. They're just going to make the joke anyway and celebrate myself. Love it. Keep going. Well, you guys were all fired up during that read. Man. The other standout storyline from yesterday in the NFL, Derrick Henry. God, he was in such a rush this season. Rushed for 250 yards and 2 scores yesterday to help the Titans beat the Texans and win the AFC South. Rushed for 2,000 yards this season, just the 8th player ever to do that. Rush, rush, rush. Where's he going? I never know where he's going. Brandon, what was your reaction to Derrick Henry joining the 2,000-yard club?
Yeah, look, Derrick Henry is the MVP, all right? And if he's not, it's time for us to change the way. It's time for us to change the name of this award to the quarterback award, all right? And then we also have to change our approach to how we talk about the MVP. There is only 2 people in the history of the game that's done this the way he's done it. There's Terrell Davis that rushed for 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns, and Derrick Henry, 17 touchdowns. This is the hardest thing you can do probably in the National Football League. This is a 100% injury rate. Think about that. All right, before I even get into the injury rate thing, let's talk about this whole what's harder, whether running for 2,000 yards or throwing for 38 touchdowns, 48 touchdowns with Patrick Mahomes, and also where Aaron Rodgers is at. Those guys are in a company of like almost 30 people, 30 quarterbacks who've done that before. This guy lives in a fraternity of two, him and Terrell Davis, two running backs. Do you guys understand how significant this is? We're talking about a running back. Any moment, an ankle can go, a knee can go. It doesn't have to be a game-ending injury. It doesn't have to be a season-ending injury. We're talking about this guy being able to stay healthy this long so he can hit this mark. Most of these guys that's done it, it's only been 8. They're going into week 17 needing 150 yards, 160 yards. So it's coming down to the wire to cross the finish line. This guy needed 37 yards, and he went for 254 or something like that. This is absolutely ridiculous. So, Nick, I've been talking about this jet ski and trying to paint the picture of the MVP hierarchy for the last several weeks. I also said that if Derrick Henry goes for over 2,000 yards, he should be the MVP. These guys been going back and forth all year. Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers.
So what's it now?
All right, that's last week. You know what's better, Nick, than riding a jet ski? Riding a dolphin. That's what's better. Riding a dolphin. This is where it's at right now. Derrick Henry is the MVP. That's what it is.
All right. This is great. This is all great.
Fantastic.
And here's what I'll tell you, Brandon.
Riding a big fat dog.
He's right about that. You've seen a lot of people ride jet skis. Don't see many people ride dolphins. It's a great take. I'm going to meet you halfway, Brandon Marshall. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. However, he's not going to win it. He's not going to win it. There's a weird thing in the NFL where if you're so good through 14 games, you don't really have to play the 15th or 16th game. They use it against you. I didn't know it was in the bylaws, but that's what happened. So, if it's not going to be Mahomes, it certainly shouldn't be a quarterback who's just like Mahomes, just worse than him. Derrick Henry makes more sense than Aaron Rodgers, who is going to win it. Because if it is... There's two points that you didn't make just to elaborate on it. One is the V in MVP, valuable. The last 7 weeks, the Titans are 5-2. Those 5 wins, Derrick Henry has run for 125 yards or more in all 5 wins. Their 2 losses are the 2 games he didn't win for him. So they are showing you down the second half of the season, they can't win unless he's brilliant. The other thing he has going for him is this. Even the biggest Mahomes fan or the biggest Aaron Rodgers fans would say the gap between Mahomes and Rodgers is not massive. The gap between Henry and everyone else is so show what he leads the NFL in over the last season and a half. Do we have that full screen? I hope we do. I think we do. Because, spoiler alert, everything. He leads the NFL in everything at his position. That's since week 10 of last year. So what's the gap between him and the second most prolific rusher over that stretch? Let's show you. Oh, it's almost 1,500 yards. If you added to Dalvin Cook's total all of Ezekiel Elliott's rushing yards in this time frame, they would barely be ahead of Derrick Henry. So if you combine Dalvin Cook and Zeke into one person, you know what you get? Derrick Henry. So I don't think he's going to win MVP Wilds. I personally would feel better about him winning it than Rodgers winning it. I do know this. He has been the most dominant player at his position, not only this year, but over the last 2 years as far as the gap between him and everyone else at his position.
Okay. I want to say 2 things. I want to give Derrick Henry even more credit, and then I also want to tell the truth of what's happening in this segment. And, Brandon, you can react to them. The first thing, giving Derrick Henry even more credit, is when Tannehill scored late in the game, That was the whole defense bit on Derrick Henry rushing, and then Tannehill rolled out. So I'm going to readjust the statistics. That should be a Derrick Henry touchdown. It was such a decoy. Nobody thought that Tannehill was going to run. That should be a Derrick Henry touchdown. The second thing that's happening in this segment, Brandon, and I think it's great teamwork and camaraderie that Nick is supporting your take. But there is an element of take my ball and go home right now from Nick Wright. That it's like, if Patrick Mahomes not going to get MVP, you know what? Taking the ball. No one's going to get it. No one's going to eat that. No one's getting it. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. All the quarterbacks out of here. And he's looking for anything. So this is not totally on the up and up, America. I'm sorry, it's not. I don't think if Derrick Henry is writing his thank you cards, you can address it to Brandon and me and Jenna. But Nick, you don't get one. I'm sorry. We know this is an anti-Aaron Rodgers take from you, not a pro Derrick Henry take.
Oh my gosh.
But I do want to leave this segment on a serious note, because I'm not trying to make TV right now. Wow, great points there, but I'm not trying to make TV right now and just say something outlandish so people can tweet it, retweet it, post it on Instagram. I truly believe if this guy doesn't win MVP, we have to rethink how we approach this award. We have to turn it into the quarterback award, and we have to just sit down, competition committee or whoever, the Nick Wright committee, sit down and talk about what is the real essence of MVP, right? So this guy has done something that only one other guy has done. So I'm super passionate about this discussion. We have to stop making these discussions, having these discussions in a vacuum. So, Jen, I'm super passionate about it, and it's time to move on. But this is not for TV. This is a serious conversation.
Wilds makes no good points. Wilds is wrong, and he's misleading America.
All right, we move on now to a new segment we're calling Nick's NBA Medal. Somehow Nick doesn't have the time to text me.
Yeah. I'm a star, shining brightest in the darkest times. I'm a star, twinkle, twinkle, I bring the sparkle in, light your world up. Yeah, I light your world